The last season for the Detroit Red Wings was highlighted by, well, let's be honest, a not-so-fun moment as we missed out on a medium elite forward thanks to the draft lottery. We missed out on him by one spot. Regardless of that, the draft still was okay for us, all things considered, when you look at some of the drafts that we've had where there's been one decent player, if that. To have ended up with two decent defensemen, we'll see what happens with that. But that brings us to the start of this season. Now, I left you, of course, at the end of the last episode knowing that we had to redo the coaching staff, and we did. I mean, we have a top-notch coaching staff nearly across the board, including a goalie coach, an A-minus goalie coach. So I'm hoping that can boost this team up a little bit. And to be honest, this is looking like it might be the first season where it's worth following along with the team, because this is the squad. Now, obviously, year in and year out, it's going to be the best team that we've had at any given point in the series, but can this team put together somewhat of a run? That is the question. Top line of Willie Cashman, now 26 years old, with Justin Madsen. I think running him on the second line last year was the right way to go. He's now an 85 overall, and I'm very intrigued to see what he can do on that top line between Cashman and Brennan Othman, who, of course, is a legitimate first-line forward, also at 26 years old. So very excited for that first line. Excited for the second line as well with this new coach. Now, again, we don't have any +5s here, but Reed Neal is making the jump up from the fourth line to the second line, which I think is a little bit overdue. Maybe we left him on the fourth line for a little bit too long, although that's where he fit in. An extremely well-rounded player who might benefit quite well from playing alongside one DeAndre Carlton and Cameron Merritt. So 6'5", 5'11", and 6'5". An interesting line there. We should play Madsen, who's 6'3", and just have a lineup of freaking gargoyles. Third line now, Hayden Fowler's been moved over to the left-hand side. Tony Shepard centers that line. William McCauley has also made the team this year. And the fourth line, Brendan Hoffman, Max Galad, and Harvey Brennan. Galad is now 29 years old, just to show you how far into the series we happen to be. So the story here, of course, the top six really starting to take shape. The bottom six leaves a bit to be desired, of course. Defensively, though, we have another new face. Now, Drysdale McGrath, still the top pairing, still a +5, even with the coaching change, easy for me to say. So that's very nice. Sasaki, still alongside Matthew Bales. Keegan Vigilante has made the team at 23 years old. He's a 75. He was a third-round pick 3 years ago, but he'll now be alongside Jesse Anderson, who, of course, made the team last year as well. Not seeing any crazy development out of him. The goaltending is the same, but now it's Howard Lowe, clean cut, #1 starter, 79 overall, above Tristan Lennox at a 78. But we're getting there to where the goaltending is at least of NHL standard. Kari Piironen's the only healthy scratch. I still have injuries off at this point because it's just not worth changing it up in this particular series, at least not at the moment. But Kari Piironen a healthy scratch because we needed to make room for other goaltenders in the system. So taking a look at the AHL, I mean, it's going to be a bad team. And you look at potentials here. We have a medium 9 and Aiden Recchi, who I nearly called up. I was debating, do I play him on the fourth line or do I just play him top line AHL? We went with that option. You know, Hart's still there. Clint Cavallo's still there, Cavallo, but, you know, he's 25 at this point. We do lack top-notch talent in the AHL. That is for sure. And then defensively, of course, you still see the likes of Marcus Gretz, Nick Stock, who, of course, has NHL time. He has 328 career NHL games. So he's played quite a bit. Cody LaCosta still there as well. So, not expecting much from this AHL team. The big thing, or the big person to pay attention to, is Gene Torres. He is now the starter for the Griffins. So there was some debate as to whether or not I wanted to go with the best potentials in the NHL again, something that we've done before. And, of course, that's mainly due to the defensemen that we drafted. I mean, Delmas could probably benefit quite handily from being in the NHL this year, as could Suter. They're both going to spend one more season in junior. We'll see if that ends up being the right call. But I decided to go with the best overall team possible for this season, and we will indeed see how they do. So what I'm going to do here, before we get a look at the scouting, I have some scouts who are currently on the move. What I wanted to do here, all of our scouts are between an A and an A-, is get a look at our overall ratings. 87, 77, and a 76. So the offense is NHL caliber. The rest of it, not so much. However, crazier things have happened, and I genuinely wouldn't be surprised to see a 79 overall goaltender go on a run. Now, granted, it's much more likely when you have a NHL caliber defense. I mean, Drysdale's a top 2 defenseman. You have a couple other guys, like, you could have them on the third pairing or as a depth defenseman and say, you know what, that works. But for the most part, we know this defense isn't exactly ready for prime time. So let's sim the first month. I'm going to wait until the scouting department thing pops up here, and then we'll take a look at the board. And unfortunately, we're without a win through our first 4 games now, so maybe this isn't the season to follow along. We do get our first win of the year against Montreal, and here we go. Let's take a look. Of course, the threat. Hello, Lehman. Please be available. The threat, of course, Lehman. Leonard. I don't know why I read that as Lehman. Anyway, the threat of adding Sarnia and the Sioux, very much there. Let's see who the top option. The O is Johnny DeVries from the London Knights. Not available. We need Lehman to be. And he is. Ted Lehman. That's where the Lehman came from. There was Lehman and Leonard. Ted Lehman from the Erie Otters. In the top 5, medium elite gem. I hit Y and it brought me back here. That's okay. We may just have to tank. We might just have to tank here now this season. That's a bit of a change up for us. Our scouting department has them at 3, but they don't have the other one scouted, obviously. But Ted Lehman, the 17-year-old from the Erie Otters. Now, see, this really makes me frustrated that we missed out on the medium elite last year. And, of course, it's another forward, but what a great pickup he could be. However, there is also Jim Madden later on in the first round. So 2 Erie Otters available. Aside from that, the next player up, oh boy, it's fallen a bit. Joey Bulbrook. Man, the Erie Otters looking like they're going to be stacked this year. And Matthew Edwards. Well, any improvements we're getting appear to all be forwards and appear to be from the Erie Otters. Amari Sampson's there from the Sioux. I'm not desperate enough yet to break away from the game plan, although, oh boy, Elliot Asham is very, very far down. You have Bryce Baldwin, medium backup from the looks of it. Edwin Garcia, also there for the Otters, one of the first defensemen. I mean, Erie is stacked this year, but I guess Saginaw is having a real down season. This is rough. This is very rough. We're in the 300s. I don't think there was like one player from Flint, one from Saginaw. I didn't see a single member of the Windsor Spitfires. But looking here, if we were to add, even if we were to add the Sioux, it wouldn't be a major improvement. I mean, you'd get Amari Sampson out of it, who, if I had to guess, is going to be a medium top 6 defensive defenseman. Just from outward appearances. So tanking would be nice to end up with Lehman. We'll see what happens in the interim here. We do have 2 wins now on the season. We'll follow along until it's quite clear that this year just isn't going to pan out for us. I want to give this team the best chance they have to succeed, although you could argue the best chance they have to succeed is if I tanked last year and this year and end up with another 2 medium elite players. But we're 5-5-2 through the opening month. It's not a horrible start for a team of this caliber. Really, November could go either way for us. We're going to see how this goes. It's still far too early to tell how we're going to be this year. But, we're hanging in there at around, 7, same amount of wins, same amount of losses, with the exception of overtime losses, of course. Now 8-8-3, make it 8-9-3. I still think the task of this team pushing for a playoff spot's a little bit too far away. And the unfortunate side of things here is that, again, in terms of a top-notch goaltender, Howard Lowe is still looking like he's going to be our best option for years to come. And in terms of defense, we're just not getting those medium elite defensemen in this series. I mean, last year, medium elite forward. This year, it's a medium elite forward. Now, obviously, I wish we ended up with Mestre last season. That would have been great. You can imagine what the top six would look like now, even if he may have been on the third line. The forward core would have been that much better, but it certainly wouldn't shield or hide our weaknesses, our defensive deficiencies that we have within this organization right now, as we're towards the bottom of the Atlantic, 37 points. Make that 39 with the win against the Rangers, and okay, I mean, we're hanging in there at 17, 15, and 7. On pace to have our best record yet. We're only 2 points out of the playoffs, just before the halfway point of the season. We're going to follow along. I mean, of course, we'll take a look at the team at the end of the year. There's no real point in being like, oh, okay, I'm going to change up these lines. Like, I have the lines set up to, focus on potential and, of course, to give us the best chance of player development as well, team chemistry, line chemistry factoring in. So really it does come down to just whether or not this team is good enough. And unfortunately, 4 straight losses to begin the new year, not great for our shot at having, our playoff hopes not completely go up in flames. But we'll see here. Now, in terms of tanking, I mean, we're in the bottom. I mean, you look at the Metro, though. There are 3 teams that haven't even broken the 40-point mark yet, and we're almost at 50. I don't think tanking is going to work out for us even at this point. And again, nor do I think it's necessarily worth it for the hit that we'd take to maybe some of the players that would benefit a lot from the ice time that they're getting. There's not much we could do aside from change out goaltenders, but I think Howard Lowe, he'd end up being just a healthy scratch at this point. I don't think I can send him down anymore. So we're going to see what happens. I mean, we don't need to finish in the bottom 3. Even finishing in the bottom 3, if that player moves up and we get bumped down to pick number 4, 5, 6, we still might not get him. That's exactly what happened with us with Mestre last season. So we're just going to try to make a run of it. We have 19 games left after that loss to Anaheim. I mean, 29 wins on the season. Again, shaping up to be our best season yet. But yeah, I mean, the Metro is brutal. 3 teams haven't even hit 50 yet in the Metro. I don't even know if we could have out-tanked Pittsburgh this year. Regardless of how I set up this team, I don't know if we could have out-tanked the Penguins this year. They are that bad. So let's just see what happens. It's not looking like we're going to be a playoff team this year, although we are only 3 points back of the Florida Panthers. We're close to being a wild card team. Let's see what happens here. Boston, pretty damn good team at this point. We beat them 4-2. And we'll see what happens. We are 1 point out of the playoffs right now. If we beat the struggling Rangers, which we do, we are on the verge of being in the postseason picture here in March for the very first time. We are 3 points back of the Panthers. They have a game, or we have a game at hand, I should say. So a crucial game against New Jersey that we lose. Another big game against Ottawa. Really good team right now. Or the Sens, we lose again. And unfortunately, I think that little glimpse at being able to catch Florida might be as close as we get. We beat Toronto. We beat Carolina. The David Ayers Bowl. We are now just 1 point back of the Panthers, although they have a game at hand. The Lightning have also surged a bit. It's now Buffalo in the basement of this division as we lose to the Islanders. It's the Dallas Stars. Next, we lose again. I just don't think the consistency is there for us to make it right now. We do beat the Islanders, but it's showing how close we're getting. If we can get that little bit of extra defensive development, this team's offense might be able to push them over the limit here. A loss to Philly will pretty much do it. We have 9 games left, although technically we're only 2 points out of the division, or out of the wild card right now. We're 2 points back. If we go on a run here, we can make it. And a big win against the Rangers helps. Again, Ottawa, very good team this year. We beat them. They had already clinched a playoff spot. We are 1 point out of the playoffs with a game at hand on Tampa. Thank God the Metro is one of the worst divisions I've ever seen. Boston, already in the playoffs. Very tough matchup. We win. And we are on the verge of being in the playoffs. Although, unfortunately, Florida wins. We are now a point back of the Toronto Maple Leafs. But Tampa didn't take advantage of their game at hand. Pittsburgh is awful, and we win 8-2. The Detroit Red Wings, as it stands right now, on March 29th, are in the playoffs at 38-31-8. We're out now, though, as of the 31st, 1 point behind Toronto. This is insane. Huge game again against Ottawa. We lose. Huge game as well against a very good Habs team. We win. That leaves us with 3 games left. We are a point out with the Leafs having a game in hand. And the Leafs did win that. So we're 3 points out with 3 games to go. I think we're going to fall just short. If we were in the Metro, we'd be second in that division. Huge game against the Islanders coming up. Didn't mean to hit edit lines. Let's just go take a look here. Can this team get the job done is the question. We play the Islanders. We lose 8-1, and that's going to do it. Having to play a very good Winnipeg team and a Bruins team as well. We do beat Winnipeg. We're just out. We put up a fight until April. We are going to fall short. Our best season to date, we hit 40 wins, but ultimately 5 points out of the playoffs. We just could not keep up with the pace that the rest of the team set. But what a showing for this team. I mean, again, we could have tanked, but ultimately we made a push, and we almost found a way to make it. Still can't believe how bad the Metro was. There's no way we were going to out-tank everybody in that division with the roster that we have now. Damn. So really, it kind of sucks because we're in the middle ground, right? Like, we're not going to have top draft odds. Who's to say we need them? Carolina's up there again. So we're not going to have top draft odds, but nor did we make the playoffs. It's a rough spot to be in. 89 points there. You can see New Jersey in 21st made the playoffs. Columbus in 25th made the playoffs because of how dumb this playoff format is. If it was 1 through 8, like it should be, the Detroit Red Wings would have made the playoffs. But because the NHL's got an NHL, and they don't go with the NBA format, which is clearly superior, in my opinion, I think 1 through 8. I think everybody agrees with that. I'm sorry, but like the top 3 in each division, 2 wildcards, I hate it. I really do. It really should just be 1 through 8, and we should be playing the Ottawa Senators in the first round of the playoffs, with, of course, Washington playing New Jersey. But instead, you have Columbus making the playoffs, despite us having 8 more points than them. It's disgraceful. But the NHL's got an NHL, and because of that, we miss out on the postseason for the first time. But again, very promising. Signs are there that this team it's starting to come together. Now, I mean, in terms of offense, take a look here. We had a top 7 offense in the league. Goals against, though, was tied for 4th highest. So great offense, but as mentioned, the defense and goaltending, it just isn't there. But if we can get that development this offseason, we have a shot. I mean, Brendan Othman, 52 goals. Cashman was great. Merritt struggled defensively, but 64 points is really good. Madsen with 59 points. He had 56 for Carlson, 49 for Neal. I'm pretty happy with the scoring. McCauley, a little bit off the point pace where I would have liked him. The 4th line contributed quite well offensively. And then to the defense, I mean, Jamie Drysdale, I don't know if he'll win the Norris with that -8, but we all know Jamie Drysdale should have won a goddamn Norris by now. Anderson, Bale, Sasaki, pretty good point totals. The Bale-Sasaki pairing was awful 5-on-5. And then goaltending-wise, Howard Lowe let me down. Howard Lowe really let me down. A 79 overall goalie should be capable of more than that. He and Tristan Lennox are neck and neck in terms of who might be the starting goaltender next season. But obviously right now, aside from the medium starter that we have in the system, there really isn't a great answer in terms of who is taking over. Shane Pinto scored 70 goals. Computer-generated and created players dominate franchise mode. Drysdale, I think, would have won the Norris. It's probably going to go to Brandstrom. Could go to Makar, but yet again, it should go to Jamie Drysdale. If points were everything, which they're not. And for the hell of it, let's see how many goals Ian Mitchell had. The answer is 26. Oh, he is broken. He has 214 goals as a defenseman in 684 games. That is insanity. For the goaltenders, the winningest shocker, Ilya Samsonov, yet again. He was the shutout king. Save percentage among starters. Caden Primo with a .912. So still very tough in this league right now to have a decent save percentage. Maurice Gauthier-Leduc is going to probably miss out on the Calder because of that plus-minus. I think it's going to go to Matthew LeBlanc in Anaheim. Was the 11th overall pick a year before. Mr. Gauthier-Leduc. So with that, no postseason for us. Let's get to this draft and see what happens here in terms of any sort of lottery luck. Which, again, not holding my breath, but Lord knows the AI teams love to jump up in the old pecking order, so maybe, just maybe, we could be so lucky as we go again to another offseason. But it's tough because, obviously, I'm disappointed that we didn't make the playoffs. Different playoff format, a more sensical playoff format, we easily make it. And obviously it sucks as well that, as the Washington Capitals win another Stanley Cup, it just sucks as well that we're not going to have great draft odds. But I don't regret going for it and pushing this team and saying, let's see what you can do. The Washington Capitals, they'll win another Stanley Cup, beating Dallas in 7 games. Columbus actually swept New Jersey in the first round because, of course, they did. Shout out to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Oh, boy. Blue Jacket playoff magic, huh? Let's take a look here at the Caps. I imagine it's going to be a similar roster. Rupe Hintz did very well. Of course, Dylan Larkin probably quite happy that he has left Detroit. Although, again, you could argue, if it was the name of the series to keep one player, you could argue, how good would this team be if we had Dylan Larkin leading the way still? We'll never know. Back-to-back for the Caps. Again, 4 out of the last 5 President's Trophies. Pinto wins the Art Ross and the Hart. Brandstrom wins the Norris. Othman won the Lady Byng. Gauthier-Leduc did win the Calder despite the plus-minus. Rupe Hintz the Conn Smythe. Vezina to Vasilevsky. I guess I would presume it's Jack Hughes. Just not, New Jersey's Jack Hughes. The upcoming Jack Hughes winning that award. Beniers wins the Selke, the Ted Lindsay to Pinto, and the Rocket Richard to Pinto. So what a season for him in Ottawa. Fuke doing some business down in the AHL. We had the top rookie in the AHL, that being Kunitz. Troy Stetcher was top defenseman. Daniil Tarasov, top goaltender and the MVP of the playoffs. So it's Fuke. So he had a hell of a season there for the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. With that, the lottery results. What's it going to be? The Detroit Red Wings move up from 14 to 2. Yes. Oh, my God. Oh, it is the best of both worlds. We get to push the team to the playoffs, on the brink of the playoffs, and then we win the lottery from 14 to 2. Eat pant, Carolina. That's what you get for stealing our boy last year. And that means that Mr. Ted Lehman is going to be a member of the Detroit Red Wings. How do you like that? Oh, baby. What a turn of events there. An unbelievable turn of events there for us. My goodness. As we get a look at the retirement, Stammer played until he was 40. Hot damn. John Tavares ends his career at 39 in Boston. Tyler Seguin, Kuznetsov, Hall, Nugent Hopkins broke 1,000 points in his career as well. Disappointing career, I'd say, for Tomas Hertl, only hitting 699. But what a moment that is. I can't remember the last time I won the lottery at that stage. It never happens. I'm stunned, flabbergasted even. It just never seems to happen for me that I win the lottery like the AI do. This time, though, it happens. And it couldn't have happened in a better way. We get kind of that morale boost from the team going for it. And now we get an insurance policy joining the team. I mean, again, you look at it, and it was the Buffalo Sabres moving up to number 1. They take Leonard. I thought it said Lehman for a second. I forgot Leonard was there. That scared the hell out of me. I'm sure a Leonard in Buffalo will work out. With the 2nd overall pick, I can't believe this. With the 2nd overall pick, the Detroit Red Wings will be selecting from the Erie Otters, Ted Lehman. Oh, he's going to be a beast, too, of a power forward. Oh, he's going to be a beast of a power forward, as if we didn't have enough size up front. 82 overall out of the gates, Ted Lehman. Oh, my goodness. As if this offense wasn't solid enough this past season. What is Ted Look at the shooting category. What is Ted Lehman going to be able to provide for this team moving forward? We missed out on the medium elite last year. It sucks even more now because of who else we could have had. But that is huge for us. Jim Madden would have been a decent replay. Hello, low elite. You're not available, though. Damn it. Damn it. Ballbrook is, though. We'll see what's up with Ballbrook. I got excited by the low elite. Jim Madden. We'll see where he ultimately goes. But he will not be joining Ted Lehman here in Detroit. As you get a look here, so I mean, Carolina adding Bobkoff. That'll go pretty well. With, of course, he who shall not be named of the God last. Jesus Christ, way to go for the LA Kings. Way to go for the Vegas Golden Knights. It's been an interesting draft so far. Jesus! Also, Madden went to Florida. Some pretty, my goodness, the amount of medium elites in this draft. And then at the end of the round, at the end of the round, it really fell apart. Let's see who's available to us here at this stage, and it is just Edwards, who is listed as a gem, but of course he is a low top 9 forward, which just sucks, if we're being honest. I'm sure the crowd, there is an argument for Samson, but it looks like he grew an inch too, didn't he? He's a low top 4. He's not going to be that much better. We'll stick to the rules. We're going to take Matthew Edwards, also from the Erie Otters, who is a 63 at 18 years old. 2-star shooting, 2-star skating. He has a long way to go, but I'm not complaining about anything in relation to this draft. Getting Lehman is unbelievable. Let's see who is here next. Nope, didn't want to go pin players. Although we don't have that many players pinned at this point, do we? So if we were to go for someone from the Sioux, Lorenzo Reza, which is a great name, is there. But I just don't feel like breaking the initial group of teams just yet. I feel like that's not totally necessary. So we're going to be taking Elliot Asham. He's an overager from the Flint Firebirds. Not expecting much here, but at least we know the potential is confirmed. The overall is going to be low. Yeah, he's a 52. So not much there. Really not much in this draft for us. Aside from Lehman, I think yet again we might need to threaten. I mean, this season, the past 2 or 3 seasons now, 3 seasons really, I threatened like, man, we're not getting any top players. Now I'm being given top players. I'm just not being given defensemen and, the lower end players that can really help boost up a team. So we'll see what happens. Maybe it's time to threaten the game again, and maybe heading into next season, Sarnia and the Sioux become eligible. Bryce Baldwin, 17 years old. He's going to have a pretty good starting overall for a medium backup. Bryce Baldwin from the Flint Firebirds, welcome. He is a 59. That's actually not as high as I thought it would be. But for a 17-year-old goalie, that's actually pretty good. So who knows what the medium backup will be able to become in the future. With that, oh boy. I think I'm going to be looking at Sarnia and the Sioux here, to be honest. Even if it's Cyrus Burish, I think I have to look at a player like that, because otherwise we're selecting someone who's way the hell down there. And then Caden Rosehill, I think I'm likely to add. Otherwise, I might as well just forego these last few picks, because you've seen it. There's nobody down there who's going to be worth it. This might piss some people off, but you know what? Screw it. 20-year-old overager, Cyrus Burish from the Sioux Greyhounds, is going to be the pick. Again, we've debated that for a while. He's a 66. We debated for a while whether or not those type of players should be eligible. And at the very least, in this draft, I'm selecting players from the Sioux and from the Sarnia Sting because otherwise, there's just nobody there. So, Caden Rosehill from the Sarnia Sting is going to be available. And he is a low bottom 6. So, really, it's just Burish who looks like it would have been worth it. And outside of that, I mean, who else is even here? Let me take a look at our scouts, like actual rankings. I mean, yeah, you see how rough this would have been. We're going to take Eddie Garcia, 19 years old. Really not expecting much, but he'll be the pick. He is a low 7th, so if you don't like the Burish pick, I get it, but you can't blame me. I had to do something. All in all, this draft will be remembered for us winning the lottery and acquiring Layman's. This team, very interesting heading in the next season. Maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to make it. It depends on what this team looks like heading into the preseason of next season once we get a full look at the player development. For now, though, that'll do it for this one. I hope you did enjoy. As always, you know the deal. Support the video, support the channel. Drop it a like, subscribe if you haven't already done so. Check out everything in the description, from the Twitter to the Instagram, the Twitch, where we stream on a near daily basis, and the Patreon as well, of course. I do love all of my patrons. Check out that platform if you haven't already as well for a little bit of bonus content if that appeals to you. I will see you all in the next one. Until then, have a good one. Take it easy. Stay safe. Catch you next time.